Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Alfonso, giving a shout out to
Something else.
something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matan, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
And welcome to episode number 223 of Something Else. Feast your hair holes in this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling and World Class Championship Wrestling from whatever the hell day this is, August 18th, 1984. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the atomic dog to my another one bites the dust. It's Trae. Trae, it is an episode 223 episodes in the making.
I'm just glad that I wasn't grab them cakes.
Nope, you did not GRABTHEMCAKES.
No.
The Junkyard Dog is officially gone.
Dog
and-
gone.
Yep. And obviously we knew this was happening. We've talked about it for a while, and especially this past month or so as the date came closer. But, and we'll get into this. I guess we'll see how it feels like in a month or 2 months from now. It didn't feel like anything off. Like, they've done such a good job, honestly, since, Bill Dundee came in, of not making the show revolve solely around the Junkyard Dog, that him not being here, it wasn't that big of a deal.
I had a thought about your hypothesis about the new opening, and I don't have any evidence for this, and I looked and couldn't find anything, but I think it's a possibility worth considering. Okay, you have to remember, when did the new thing debut? 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Okay, we know that in some markets, at least, like we know in Little Rock, the TV was 5 weeks behind. Now, I don't know. It is possible that there is a version of that opening that had Dog in it, and then after he left the territory, Watts had Joel edit the opening, and we have a version of the tape from after the editing. But again, that is a wild just idea that I had thinking about the sources, and I don't know. It's a possibility.
I prefer to think that Joel is so incompetent that he somehow forgot to include the top star of the company in the intro video.
You want to know the irony of irony? Did you notice there was actually a snippet of Dog in a music video on one of these shows?
Yes, I actually do. Wasn't it? Oh my God! Now I'm like kicking. Oh, it was a stupid World Class music video. We'll get
the one on World Class. The one on World Class that had Dog for just a second.
Oh Lord, that we'll get to that. If there's ever an episode where you listen to us because we didn't go off topic, this is the episode. We have a lot to cover between Mid-South and World Class. Believe it or not, World Class was a hell of an episode this week, I thought.
I couldn't even be annoyed at what they did because it actually just doing something chaotic made it more interesting than it ever is.
Yeah. We'll get to the Rhino and Tajiri moment of World Class Championship Wrestling in about 45 minutes to an hour. But for now, let's go to the intro of the show. Trae got my joke. Not that it's that obscure, but it's obscure enough. Let's go to the intro of the show with JR and our dejected president of Mid-South Sports, Cowboy Bill Watts.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting hour of Mid-South Wrestling. My name is Jim Ross, and I'll be your host this hour, along with the president of Mid-South Sports, Cowboy Bill Watts. And I tell you, Bill, Grizzly Smith has done an outstanding job once again. We've got a lot of exciting things to tell the people about, including a tag team match that goes beyond compare when the Fantastics finally go against Jim Cornette's Midnight Express.
That'll be an awesome bout. And, of course, the big topic of conversation is the Junkyard Dog and what's happened to him. And we don't really know. We do know that he's left the Mid-South area. And, of course, Junkyard Dog was a great superstar for a lot of time. And I think a lot of the pressure that Butch Reed has put onto him maybe finally affected him. The only thing I disagree with is he made a lot of obligations here and he let the fans down. But, you know, he's been under the gun for 5 years here in Mid-South. And Butch Reed is an awesome individual. And apparently it kind of made him crack or do something, and he's sought greener pastures, so to speak. That we don't know. This is all summation and speculation, but certainly he's not here, and he didn't show up in the matches. He was booked against Butch Reed, and of course Reed and Landell are going to take a lot of credit for that. But right now we're going to go to Boyd Pierce in the ring and Steve Dr. Death, who has an announcement.
Okay, so Bill always because this is not the first time I've seen this intro before. Bill always seemed to me like he was embarrassed to have to tell people this story. Like, you know, even he couldn't believe that Marshall Dillon packed his bags and went home, or that John Wayne was a coward and, you know, turned his back on a fight. He did try to not bury Dog per se, because I think even he knew that it's like, you know what, this is the wrestling business. There's a chance that we're gonna meet each other again one day. And so I'm not going to bury him entirely, but you know, there was definitely he's afraid of Butch Reed, that commentary where it's like, or Butch Reed, or he cracked under the pressure of Butch Reed. Now, Trey, do you feel here's another question. This is territory wrestling. People leave territories all the time. And you did not know about it at the time until a month or two later when you're like, what the hell ever happened to this person? Did Bill Watts necessarily have to acknowledge on TV that the dog left?
No, I don't think so. No. People will figure it out. The dog isn't on Mid-South anymore, and they're gonna either see in magazines or see on fucking WWF TV.
Yeah. In some ways, I guess I can see it because he's going to go from being the top face here to the number 2 face under Hogan there. That it's like, well, see, he Butch Reed ran him off, and you know, don't cheer for him. He left us behind. He left us in the dust. But yeah, it's like, and the funny thing is, this isn't just a territory thing. Like, I can tell you as a kid, because I was not a smart mark. I did not know everyone's contract situation when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. It's like people were not on television every week growing up. So it's like I had no idea Razor Ramon and Diesel were leaving the WWF until I watched Nitro and saw them show up on Nitro. You know, things like that. You know, you didn't know that people left the territory until this, either a month or two passed where they just weren't there, or they showed up on another territory's television that you just happened to get.
Yeah, I guess the smarter thing would be to look it up and to ask you. But you know, when did Vince first try to run New Orleans?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure. My guesses would be, you know, probably in the next couple months.
Yeah, okay, not in 84. Let's see if there's 85. I did come across a newspaper clipping that surprised me that no, they didn't run New Orleans in 85 either. But weirdly, New Orleans was one of the markets where you could get WrestleMania 1 on pay-per-view.
You had mentioned that to me last year.
Uh-huh.
So well, this I don't know if this really counts, but the NATP convention in January of '86, apparently they did a match with Tony Garea versus Matt Bourne. But here we go, March 7th, 1986, debut in New Orleans at the Superdome in front of 12,600 people. The main event, Hogan pinning the Iron Sheik, semi-main JYD versus Terry Funk. And I'm going to say what you're probably thinking. I'm a little surprised it took this long.
Yeah. They actually did Shreveport on February 27th, so probably a week before, with Tito Santana and Randy Savage on top, Paul Orndorff, Roddy Piper in the semi-main, Dog and Terry Funk third from the top. Fourth from the top, Adrian Adonis against Lanny Poffo.
There you go. Mid-South invasion here. So it is very possible that like Watts was able to keep him out of their territory, at least keep him out of their buildings.
By the way, this actually looks like a hell of a card. The other three matches are Bob Orton Jr. against Scott McGee, Davey Boy Smith against Les Thornton, and the Dynamite Kid against Bret Hart.
And this is '86?
Yeah, February '86 in Shreveport.
Where in Shreveport? Obviously, it's not at the Irish McNeil Boys Club.
The State Fairhurst Memorial Coliseum.
Okay, then. That does sound like an interesting little card.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's like, 86 WWF, which I don't want to say it's overrated because, wrestling quality in the WWF was never the big deal. Yeah. But it's like, to me, I'd be looking at a few days before just to see how far they've flown all over the country before this match. And my guess is it was not, it wasn't as good as you probably think it is looking back.
Yeah, that's the thing you got to remember. 12,600 at the Superdome. What was Watts doing at the Superdome in '86?
Well, come on, I just left those damn pages. You're killing me here.
I'm sorry.
But here I am, like, oh, we're going to be on topic today.
I'm sorry, I hate it when I do this. Well, we're on topic, though. This is on topic compared to what we usually do.
I guess we are. So November '85, the Superdome, they do 16,000. Okay. June of '86, they do 11,000.
Okay, so that
November they do 13, and then oh my God, I'd like to think this is things that were already booked under Bill, but when the Crockett takes over the UWF, they still run, depending on the day the contract was signed or the paperwork was signed, they ran 2, maybe 3 shows under Jim Crockett UWF at the Superdome. April, June, and August of '87, all of which drawing about 3,500 people. Which,
wow.
I would like to think if they'd just done a Jim Crockett promotion show at the Superdome, like they would have drawn a bit. But it's like, yeah, like these are UWF shows, for lack of a better word. I mean, Dusty's on one of them that is 3,500, which still isn't anything, but yeah. All right, yeah. So let's go here to what happens next. The era of the dog is over. Time to move on with our lives. Let's go to the next segment, which is Dr. F. C. Williams in the ring. If you recall last week, he was upset that Terry Taylor, who was a little bitch, had his medal taken back by Mid-South management. And so Dr. Death said that he was going to have a new award to introduce into Mid-South this week. Let's go to Boyd and Dr. Death in the ring.
Wrestling fans, Steve Dr. Death Williams was talking last week about an award. Now he wants to tell us about it this week.
Like a little statement here. I took the medal away from Khrushchev, and Terry Taylor, he couldn't take the medal away from me. Mid-South, they had to take the medal away from me. Well, I have an award here. One thing here, just a minute, let me pull it out of my great sack here. It's called the Dr. Death helmet. This helmet represents the toughest athlete to step in this square circle. I'm challenging anybody, friend or foe, to step in this ring and try to take this fantastic, lot of pride in this helmet, the Dr. Death helmet. Thank you.
Thank you, and now the match.
At least he's still polite about it. Now, Trey, what exactly did you find funny about him pulling his helmet out of his sack?
I don't know. Can't imagine.
Um, so yeah, we now have a new title here in Mid-South. It is the Dr. Death helmet, where you must
You know
take it
what?
from Dr. Death.
You know what? Dr. Death, as far as I'm concerned, is the real TV champion because at least he's defending his helmet on television.
Indeed. So yeah, this is the Dr. Death helmet, which I mean, they remember last year when they kept talking about how they were going to do the brass knucks title to determine the toughest wrestler in Mid-South, and I
Yeah.
ranted and raved for a while about how wouldn't the toughest wrestler automatically be the champion? But um, I, I I like that they're doing this because it's not an official title, quote unquote. I'd be more grumpy if it was like that, where it's like, oh, we're gonna have a secondary title, but the winner of this or the holder of this title is truly the toughest man in the company. Because again,
So,
the toughest guy in the company should be the champion.
well,
But
no, because it'd be the brass knuckles title would be like the never open weight title, where like
yeah, but
you remember the thing like the world champion is the strongest and the intercontinental champion is the best and the never champion is the baddest.
I I think if I started arguing this, you'd get mad at me because semantics and all that. But yeah, I just whatever. So okay, so he challenges anybody to come get his helmet, and that leads us to our opening match, which is the Dr. Death helmet holder, Dr. Death Steve Williams, versus the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Champion Mike Jackson. Now I do have to ask, how do you exactly do you become the Dr. Death helmet holder? Do you have to pin Dr. Death or make him submit? Or because he puts the helmet on the post, like how he did the medal there for a little bit of time, do you simply have to out wrestle him and get to the helmet?
No, just to be clear, the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Championship was not on the line.
No.
Oh,
I don't believe Dr. Death met the weight limit for the Alabama
okay.
Junior Heavyweight title.
Okay, I
Plus, I
guess
think
it
you have
is
to
about
actually
weight
be in
limit.
Alabama or from Alabama to challenge for the championship.
Oh no, surely not. You're just the champion recognized by the Alabama State Athletic Commission.
Okay. Um, so I noted here, and um, I didn't really notice till later that it was around the entire ringside area, but they installed guardrails around the ring. And during this match, I only noticed it on the side of the arena that doesn't have any fans on it. I'm like, well, I bet that really held people back. But I noticed later it was around the entire ring. Kind of weird. I wonder if there's a story behind this. Like, did Louisiana, the state athletic commission, say something, or you know, or were there incidents with fans? Although, if there were, I can't imagine this rinky-dinky guardrail is gonna, stop any fans from jumping in.
Yeah, you never heard anything about the fans of the Irish O'Neill Boys Club being ready. Like you hear horror stories about like fucking New Orleans and Houma, Louisiana, and that shit, but not like fucking Shreveport. At least not the TV tapings.
Yeah. I, I think it's mostly like families come to the TV tapings. Other families avoid the arena shows, but I mean, I don't know. It's like it feels like it's more of a bring the whole family to the TV taping kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
at least when we see arena cards, like you listen to these shows, there's a lot of squealing on these shows when you get the good-looking guys coming out. You don't get that a lot when you see the arena matches, all the squealing. It's a lot more masculine screaming.
Well, we also haven't seen a lot of arena matches with like the Rock and Roll Express.
And that is very true. Anyway, Doc remained the Dr. Death helmet holder by winning with the Oklahoma Stampede. And this was the first time on this show that I was mad that we already had an episode title because Dr. Death helmet holder I thought would be a great episode title.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I insisted some weeks ago on the title of this week's episode.
I mean, we had it had to be referenced in the title.
Yes.
Because my original thought was we're going to need another black guy, but doggone definitely works too.
Yeah.
And any thoughts on Doc versus Mike here?
Oh, Mike Jackson is out there busting his ass, making Doc look good, and all Watts can talk about is dog leaving the territory because he was afraid of Butch Reed.
Yep. In case it didn't seem obvious the last few weeks that Butch Reed was turning babyface, it really suddenly seeming obvious that Butch Reed is about to turn babyface.
Shit, we didn't even see Reed on the show, did we?
No, we did not. No. But from here we go to a 2-on-1 handicap match with Jim Dugan versus, as I wrote, I don't even know why I wrote this, Rander Barber and Don Sanders.
I love Boyd, 2 men, Randy Barber and Don Sanders. 1 man, Hacksaw Dugan.
I'll be honest though, like Boyd did an okay job, but it's like this is when I missed research because there was a handicap match a couple of years ago. I don't remember it was Ernie Ladd, maybe it was Kamala, but it was like the following is a handicap tag team match. And what that means is 2 men are going to wrestle 1. But why don't we take a look at the 1 guy they got to wrestle? And it was like, it was a very research way to introduce a handicap match.
Sounds like King Kong Bundy or something.
Maybe even Bundy. But yeah, it's like, it was not, Bobby Eaton did not have a handicap match. And Reeser put over how big Bobby Eaton was. So Dugan won with the debut of what will eventually be known in WCW as the Old Glory knee drop.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Watts teased a Duggan Doc program on commentary.
I mean, that is certainly a hoss fight.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right, so let's go to the intro of the next match because Jim Cornette is here and he's got something to say.
This event, 1 fall, 10-minute time limit in the blue corner. 220 pounds from Detroit, Michigan, Josh Stroud. And
ladies and gentlemen, I take proud pleasure in presenting to you my bodyguard, the strongest man in the world, the Tower of Power, the man with the fist of nitroglycerin and the $10,000 punch, Hercules Hernandez.
Right, episode title number 3, Proud Pleasure. Why can't these people save this stuff for next week when we need a new episode title?
Yeah, I tweeted a couple of screen caps. I talk about it every week now. It's my favorite thing. Boyd Pierce looking at Jim Cornette like he's a space alien. Oh.
Boyd, again, I mentioned this before, like pro wrestling nowadays, like no matter what company it is, because like it has just been like beaten into your head that ring announcers have to be professional and yada, yada, yada. You will never see a ring announcer give a look of derision towards, one of the managers or one of the wrestlers. Like the closest you're getting now is Justin Roberts, doing the intros for the Young Bucks, which it's not the same. We'll just say that.
Yeah, and Justin Roberts is very good at engaging, but man, those old territory ring announcers that had so much character, Boyd is just a treasure.
Yes. Too bad, we can't dig up Boyd Pierce and Reeser Bowden and have them doing ring announcing on Raw, SmackDown, and AEW today.
Oh man, that'd be amazing. I would love to hear Boyd Pierce announce the Young Bucks.
I don't think Boyd Pierce would know what to say.
I think that he would like the Young Bucks just because Jim Cornette hates them.
There you go. Now they said that Stroud was very inexperienced. Now Stroud does not have a cage match profile, and Josh Stroud does have a website, but he apparently does not know how long he's been wrestling either because he didn't have that really listed or even really references Mid-South. But I'm fairly certain that if not the same amount of time, Josh Stroud has been wrestling longer. That's my theory anyway on this. But Herc won with the Shinnomaki, and another one of those times where it was an epic struggle for him to put that hold on. And if Trey were here, I'm sure he'd say, "You're right, Arya. Hercules did look weird trying to put on the Shinnomaki." And let me see here. There's a storm outside of Trey's house. His power flickered. So even though I see him on, he just dumped off. He'll come back on. So yeah, Hercules beat Josh Stroud to the shock of approximately nobody. After the match, Dugan ran into the ring and wanted to have a match. Hercules did not want to have a match, so Duggan punched him in the face and then kept punching him. I mean, at this point, I don't blame Hercules at all for fighting back because he did not want to have a match right now, and Hacksaw Duggan punched him in the face. Like, really, motherfucker. So they rolled around for a bit. The Midnight Express ran in for assistance, and then Jim Cornette pulled out the Ether Bunny, and 3.5 men teamed up to put Dugan out. Cornette then pulled out the scissors because it's been a thing, it's been a thing now for like a year that people keep trying to shave Duggan or cut his hair. And he tried to do it here, but thankfully for him, baby faces stick together, and Sonny King's separated shoulder is not that bad anymore because he came running out, and he single-handedly took out 3.5 men. After he cleared the ring, after Sonny King single-handedly made the save, Terry Taylor, who is a little bitch, ran in to help, and he posted poor Bobby Eaton. And we'll get to that here in a minute of what that means. But Terry Taylor, again, a little bitch, could not come out to help fight when, the odds were against, poor Hacksaw Duggan. He waited for someone to make the save for him, and then he helped. And I still am missing a co-host at this point. But since I'm interested in Trey's thoughts on this particular segment, I'm going to press pause, and we'll come right back. It'll be a very smooth transition like we try to do on this show. So let's press pause, and I'll be right back in a second. 20 minutes later. Okay, it really wasn't 20 minutes. It was more like, 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a little bit of a thunderstorm, and my power flickered for just a second, and I turned my computer on, and then I also had to reset my router. But it worked out because also gave me a chance to let Astro Peach in the room because he was reaching his little paw under the door wanting in with his dad.
Aw. I also got a Pepsi. So
Hey.
Before our interruption, we were talking about Hercules winning with the worst Shinnomaki of all time. I don't know if it's the worst of all time, but it is a fucking struggle for this fucking guy to put on the Shinnomaki. And I don't think it's I don't think Josh Stroud is really fighting this that well. Yeah, so that was the match, and then I talked about the post-match angle. What were your thoughts on all this?
Sonny King's back.
Yes, he is. That separated shoulder, we talked about it, puts you out for between 2 and 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was feasible that maybe he really did hurt his shoulder, and he's really back now.
I think he did. That's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I was kind of half paying attention. Did they post Bobby Eaton? And
I didn't even catch what happened until they came back from the break. I realized anything had happened.
The funny thing is, when they come back from the break, they keep talking about how Bobby is hurt and may not be able to wrestle. And I'm like, man, what happened to Bobby Fulton? Because it literally did not even occur to me that Terry Taylor posting him was enough to injure poor Bobby Eaton.
Stupid Terry Taylor.
Yeah,
stooge.
He is a little bitch after all.
And a stooge.
However, he is in a bisexual throuple because we went to I think they replayed this. I'm pretty sure we've seen this one before.
Yes.
The Rod Taylor, pardon me. Don't you think I'm sexy? Music
Rod
video
Stewart.
for Terry Taylor.
Rod
Who the hell is
Stewart.
Rod Taylor?
Yeah, we had seen this.
Rod Stewart, who is not Rob Taylor, um, with "Don't You Think I'm Sexy." He went on a date with a lovely woman and Joel Watts with a video camera.
Oh yeah, well, you want Joel Watts there to record your dates.
I gotta see. I don't think it was even recording date. I think that they're a throuple, and I gotta say, throuples, especially in 1984, are quite progressive.
That's very progressive. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that leads us to our next match, which is the champion of television, Terry Taylor, who is a progressive little bitch, versus Art Cruz. They inform us that Terry is the pride of Vero Beach, Florida. And so I went to look up because, like, I never even heard of Vero Beach, Florida outside of that's where Terry Taylor lives. So I looked up on the always reliable Wikipedia, and Terry Taylor is not even listed under the notable residence section. But you know who is listed there? You know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Jade Cargill, isn't she from Vero Beach?
Jade Cargill, yes,
Yeah.
she's listed. As is Baseball Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax and Parvati from Survivor.
I'm gonna say Jade Cargill, Terry Taylor, little bitch, Jade Cargill, bad bitch.
Yes, and she's a big bad bitch too.
She is.
Actually, the funny thing is, like, she's big for a woman, but like somehow I picture like Terry Taylor towering over her. She's probably like 5'4", 5'5", but you know.
I was disappointed that we didn't get the Art Cruz versus Bad Bob Owens match that we were promised last week.
No, and I know they always try to give us the match the next week, but oh well.
By the way, Terry Taylor, the TV champion, who only defends a title at house shows and wrestles jobbers on TV.
And almost gets beaten by jobbers on TV. Art Cruz almost beat him on multiple occasions.
Yeah, this was too close of a match.
Yes. You know, this wasn't even like the Thrill Seekers on Smoky Mountain who hit 55 moves and their opponents kick out 54 times. This is Art Cruz nearly pinned Terry Taylor half a dozen times. And Art Cruz, outside of, expiration of time matches, and even then, I don't think he's got a great record. Art Cruz, I don't think has ever won on this show.
I have recently been re-delving into my love of military history. And there's a quote, I always think of it as a Civil War line, but I think the actual source was General
Bill
Wellington
Watts.
about the Battle of Waterloo. It had been a very near thing. I don't think a match with Art Cruz should have been this near of a thing. And by the way, this is probably the only time that anyone has ever compared Terry Taylor to the Duke of Wellington.
Almost assuredly. Why don't people listen to this show? So Taylor wins with the 5-arm. And from then, let's go to what is included in the intro of the next match. Also, Watts and JR have some stuff to say, including what I thought was going to be spoiling the finish, but it was not actually spoiling the finish. But let's go to JR and Bill.
Well, Jim, there's been some one-sided negotiating during the commercial break. Cornette tried to cancel the match coming up with the Fantastics against the Midnight Express. But Grizzly Smith said if one of your Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton, who's badly lacerated, can't continue, put Hercules Hernandez in there. But Cornette said he'd be afraid to be standing out there without his bodyguard because Dugan might attack him. I wonder why. I can guarantee you Dugan's going to do some attacking. Grizzly said the match is signed. You get a substitute, whoever you want, and the Midnight Express are going to wrestle the Fantastics no matter what. So let's go to Boyd Pierce, and he's waiting with Jim Cornette, and we're going to see a television main event.
Tag team action next. One fall or 10-minute time limit.
Let me tell you people something. This match is taking place under protest. I didn't want to agree to it, but they made me because Bobby Eaton was injured by that cowardly attack by Terry Taylor, and he's not able to wrestle. Now, Grizzly Smith tried to talk me into putting my bodyguard, Hercules Hernandez, who you see standing here, into the match to give Hacksaw Duggan a chance to come jump me from behind, but I'm too smart for that. So I got the best man that I could find, a man more than capable of holding up his end, and he will replace Bobby Eaton. as a member of the Midnight Express for this match. I introduce to you now, Loverboy Dennis Condrey and Crusher Khrushchev, the Midnight Express.
Okay. I gotta say, this is the unremembered member of the Midnight Express. Like, everyone remembers Loverboy Dennis, Beautiful Bobby, Sweet Stan, Bombastic Bob, Bodacious Bart, Ravenous Randy. I don't think anybody remembers Crusher Barry.
I am sure that it didn't, but it would be hilarious if this had ever come up again in like Crockett a few years later.
Bob Eaton is stranded, so they need a replacement. Like, well, there is a replacement Midnight Express member.
It'd be like on Smoky Mountain when the boss man was when Cornette was trying to get the big boss man to just talk to him.
There you go. All right, so that leads us to our next match, which is the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette versus Los Fantasticos. Trey, I don't want to alarm you, and before I say this, I should ask, Trey, are you sitting down for this?
I am. I am sitting down and petting my kitty.
Okay, I honestly, please don't be like mid-hard pet on Kitty, because I don't want Kitty to get hurt by you being too shocked by what I'm about to tell you.
Okay, very gentle pets.
1984 Barry Darsow is not as good as Bobby Eaton.
I don't think any version of Barry Darsow was as good as any version of Bobby Eaton. But this was good. This was good. This was very good. I was thinking the whole time, boy, this would be better if it was Bobby Eaton.
Yes, it would be. Now, I'm not even saying like 1984 Bobby Eaton is better than 1984 Barry Darsow. I mean, like, modern day, dead in the ground for 3 or 4 years, Bobby Eaton is better than 1984 Barry Darsow.
Darsow's not that bad. He's green, but he's not that bad.
He's not terrible. Like, he was obviously a lot worse last year when he came in as the lumberjack wearing his jorts.
Yeah.
But I still don't know how he ever got those things off. But it's possible he never was able to get them off. He was able to like roll up the tiny legs up to his crotch so he could put his red Soviet tights on over them.
I'm just imagining him like in the babyface locker room, and like Magnum TA is trying to help him like oil his legs so he can get the shorts off.
Oh God, that's a sitcom waiting to happen. Never mind. We're going off on a tangent there. So Hercules was staring at the direction of the locker room, and to me, this is where it's too bad that like the Afternoon Boys Club is so open, like how it is, because like if there was a curtain there or something, what they could have done was had Duggan sneak out that back door and run around to the side door where the fans come in through, and he could have run in from the side to interfere in the match. I was pretty sure the finish was going to be Hacksaw Duggan runs in and interferes, because what's his name flat out said Jim Duggan is going to interfere in this match, and then Jim Duggan did not interfere in this match.
The finish was apparently the greatest high spot Bill Watts ever saw.
I mean, it was something. And while I was waiting for Duggan to interfere, Fulton pinned Condrey with a roll-up.
Okay, yes. Fulton pinned Condrey with a roll-up. Okay. Tommy Rogers drop kick Crusher Khrushchev. And then Rogers took Dennis to the ropes, but he tagged Fulton where Condrey couldn't see it. And then Dennis fucking reversed Rogers into the ropes, hit a back body drop that threw Rogers over Fulton. Rogers gets to his feet, hits Khrushchev with another drop kick, and at the same time, Fulton gets Dennis with a reverse cradle, 1, 2, 3, and Watts fucking blew his nut.
It was a very complex 1984 finish.
Just think about how much better it would have been if Bobby Eaton had been there.
Yes. I will also say that, like, I was expecting Darso to get pinned. So I'm like,
Yeah.
here's why you have Darso in the match. He gets pinned, and Jim Cornette goes, "Well, you don't get a title shot. Like, you beat somebody who isn't really a tag team champion." But they pinned Dennis Condrey.
I know
And
that I know that you've told me probably more than once exactly when he leaves, but I still think like every Crusher Khrushchev appearance, I assume, is going to be the last one.
no, he's here for a few more weeks.
Okay.
We then get a debut of a black guy in the territory.
Oh.
Out with the old, in with the new. We needed a new black guy, and we got one. Brickhouse Brown versus Nature Boy Buddy Landell. And Buddy Landell, I guess, has been watching his Jim Cornette tapes because during the intro, he felt that he needed to interrupt Boyd.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, why Mid-South Sports is keeping Buddy Landell down. This geek right here can't even lace my boots. He probably ain't been in the business longer than Pat stayed in the Army. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of things. Bill Watts sits over there with Jim Ross, and they make excuses up day and night for the Junkyard Dog. There ain't no use making excuses for the Junkyard Dog because it all boils down to this. What they call it in Vietnam, they call it shell shot. And what that means is that he's scared. And he's so scared he's squeaking. He ain't around here ever since I put Butch Reed on the program that Buddy Landell trains on. He has done nothing but run the Junkyard Dog out of Mid-South. That's right, he did it. Where's he at right now? Where's Junkyard Dog at? It all boils down to he's a scared rabbit. Same as Magnum TA. Where's Magnum TA at? He's nowhere to be found either. Don't look at me, boy. Don't you eyeball me. Don't eyeball me like that. You ain't been in the business long enough. And Mid-South Sports brings a geek like this to embarrass me in front of all my fans out here. What is going on? Don't eyeball me, boy.
Your referee, Ron West.
Boyd, like, not even acknowledging. It's like, your referee, Ron West.
That's the best part. God, I love Boyd.
Oh, God. Not overselling it, not underselling it, selling it properly. And I was sitting here like, man, they're really building up this match between Buddy Landell and Junkyard Dog that doesn't happen. And then I looked up. It does happen, Trey. Buddy Landell wrestles the Junkyard Dog on a weekend of house shows in WCW 1990. But they are building up the match for that house show run.
Are the house shows at least in Louisiana?
I didn't even look it up. I think they were in North Carolina.
Okay.
When I say I didn't look it up, I guess I did look it up, but I didn't like notate where it happened.
That's fair.
It is, as we mentioned, the Mid-South debut of Brickhouse Brown, and he won quite quickly with a side Russian leg sweep. And Landell protested this decision. He demanded Brickhouse get back in the ring, and Brickhouse was like, you know what, I got some energy. I still had some time. I'll get back in the ring. And so we get the rematch, Buddy Landell versus Brickhouse Brown. Brown hit one of those drop kicks that Cactus Jack used to talk about that actually gave Cactus a stinger at one point because Brickhouse apparently doesn't know wrestling isn't real. And since this wasn't technically a match, because they've always said, oh, you know, this isn't an official match, so they're doing it for free. You can understand the referee being lax with the rules, even though they did count a 1, 2, 3. But Brickhouse Brown came off the top rope with a missile drop kick.
Well, he didn't jump. He dove. What the fuck?
I wrote that he flew.
I didn't even. I didn't even think about that part of it. It's just I don't. I'm glad you because I was thinking. I did have the thought, and then I couldn't remember why. Like I don't think Landell was the first person to ever complain about having to wrestle Brickhouse Brown.
And I think the Cactus Jack stuff was in 4 years, so it's not like Brickhouse Brown gets better with that drop kick. I mean, it's a nice drop kick. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, I feel like he might be the Bob Holly of 1984 when it comes to throwing a nice drop kick, but he's really kicking you in the face there.
Yeah, he looked good here. I mean, the Budrow bumping for him and everything.
He looked good both aesthetically and actually ring-wise.
Yeah.
But of course, we'll see how he is when, he's wrestling some of the lesser talented Mid-South, although they do have a good roster right now.
Yeah.
So after commercial, Buddy was still throwing a tantrum, but instead of showing it, we went to a video package for the most bizarre apparition that Bill Watts has ever seen, Adrian Street. Now, again, why do they keep giving me good episode titles? Because the bizarre apparition would be another good episode title.
Miss Linda can get it.
Yes. But I mean, it's Adrian Street.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put this. I like to think that anybody listening to this knows who Adrian Street is and have seen him, and what he is. He's gay in 1984.
He is what someone in 1984 would have called a transvestite, and the world's toughest transvestite is a fair description.
He'll be here in 2 weeks. And since Buddy was still throwing a temper tantrum, we just ended the show at this point with the announcement that next week, the Midnight Express will wrestle not the Fantastics, who just won a non-title match, but the PYTs.
The PYTs, who are baby faces here and heels on the other show.
They get really grumpy on that 200-mile drive west.
Understandable. I bet there wasn't a Buc-ee's there in 1984.
What the hell's with this obsession with Buc-ee's? Because all of a sudden I'm seeing that all over the Facebook too.
Well, it's just something you won't understand until you experience it.
But what is it? Is it just a restaurant? Why is everyone
it's it's a big ass gas station.
Okay.
And they have the bathrooms are always clean, and they have amazing food. My favorite is the 3-meat sandwich, which is brisket, sausage, and turkey, and just great snacks. And it's the most wonderful place in the world.
All right then. Let me see here, because hey, we're between shows, so it's okay if we take a little bit of a detour. And Google is not even bothering to tell me what the closest Buc-ee's is to me. So
they are spreading now, but I don't think they've made it to New England.
Virginia, North Carolina, and Colorado, according to Google. Virginia is closer to me than Colorado.
Yeah, significantly.
All right, so that was a good episode of Mid-South. We say that there's not a good episode of Mid-South most weeks. It's, Mid-South is a hell of a promotion. They are on fire right now.
Yeah,
and then please tell me.
I'm sorry.
Please tell me you watched the intro World Class.
Okay, I did, and I don't know. I guess I didn't see what you wanted me to see. Was it Bill Mercer's tan suit?
I'd say all of Bill Mercer's commentary in the first 40 seconds. So let's go to the intro. And I loved the intro, and I thought Trey would pop more for it, but Trey doesn't even remember it. So let's go to the intro.
To Beirut, from Hawaii to the Virgin Islands, from Oregon to the Orinoco, this is World Class Championship Wrestling. Hi, everybody, I'm Bill Mercer, here at the world-famous Sportatorium in downtown Dallas, Texas, with another great World Class Championship Wrestling event. And our main event, is it a dandy? It is Devastation's Killer Khan against the Freebirds' Terry Gordy. And we have Mike Von Erich, Wild Bill Irwin, also Sweet Brown Sugar, and many more of the world's greatest stars. And we'll be right back with an encore match. That one features Kerry Von Erich and Gino Hernandez next on World Class Championship Wrestling.
Okay. Maybe it's not really that big of a deal, but I marked out for from Boston to Beirut, from Hawaii to the Virgin Islands, from Oregon to the Orinoco, to the point where I'm like, what the fuck is the Orinoco? And I looked it up, and apparently it's a river in South America.
Bill was feeling froggy this week.
However, he did comb his hair and he trimmed his beard this week.
Yeah,
So,
that was an improvement.
Yeah. So we're going to get Gordy versus Killer Khan in the main event. And to be honest, I really wasn't looking forward to this match much until I saw somebody happen to post like a little video of an upcoming rematch they have. And holy fuck, I want to watch Killer Khan and Terry Gordy wrestle again.
Yeah.
And so I got super excited for today's main event, and we'll see how that goes here when we get to the end here.
Yeah.
Now, from here, I don't know where they wrote this because I guess maybe Mercer said this, but I wrote encore match versus Gino versus Kerry with Gino versus Kerry in a mighty battle.
A mighty battle indeed.
Which fast forward to 7:47, which was not a cue for the one-man gang, believe it or not.
No.
All right. So up next, they pitch it to a music video, and I'm obviously not going to play the music video for many, many reasons, but I want to play the intro that Bill Mercer does for the music video. So I'm like, man, somebody got a thesaurus this week. Let's go to Bill.
In this violent world of muscles and sinew, we'll bring you now an artistic experience, a wrestling music montage.
I should have wrote that down. An artistic experience, and
honestly, that could have been another episode title candidate. Bill Mercer gets a thesaurus.
Yes. Why don't these people do these things like, the weeks where I'm like, okay, where am I getting a title off of?
Yeah.
So who knows what the real song was that they played here? Because it was the Peacock version, so they weren't playing any real music here.
Yeah.
I did write that it does not look like a Joel Watts special because I'd like to think Joel wouldn't include a close-up of a toothless man holding out a box of popcorn or do a dramatic zoom in on Max's eye.
I think Joel Watts would have been embarrassed to look at this.
We were told later that a outstanding young man named Tim Werner put it together, and I popped for like they show a still shot of Killer Khan, but instead of just like moving away from the still shot of Killer Khan, they kept rapidly mirroring it back and forth. So you get Killer Khan, the mirror of Killer Khan, and back and forth for, a couple seconds there, and I popped for that. I don't know what the point of this was. Like, it feels like when you watch this, Mid-South and World Class are definitely working together more than they were before. Because, like, it's very Mid-South to have a random music video here in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was just different. And it sucks, like, because, like, the only world-class tapes ever out there, like, there's very few actual, like, world-class tapes from the 80s. It's not like the Mid-South stuff or the Smoky Mountain stuff where we can find the actual TV broadcasts from back then. This is, the only world-class stuff really is just the Peacock version or the WWE Network version that people ripped and torrented. So we have no idea what the music video was, but I'm fairly certain, I'm sure it was a very 1984 song, whatever it was.
Yeah, sure it was.
Although, like, knowing how well the rest of this music video was, how it didn't really seem to make any sense. I bet the song was "Girls Want to Have Fun."
Oh, maybe it was Time After Time.
After time. Maybe it was "I Did It My Way."
Oh God.
Good old Frankie Blue Eyes. So we go back to the ring where Buddy Chauncey, or whatever his name is is ring announcing this week instead of Drunk Mark Lawrence.
Ralph Pulley.
Yeah. I think Buddy Chauncey is a better name. I mean, this is probably the second half of last week's show because they usually like take one Sportatorium show and split it up between two TV shows.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have Kevin Von Erich on this show either. So we get our opening match, which is Sweet Brown Sugar Skip Young versus Kelly Kiniski. Now, Trey, I had a little bit of a freak out during this match because they kept saying Skip Young comes from a great wrestling family. He is a second-generation wrestler. But they wouldn't tell us who the fuck he's a second generation of. I'm like, is he Mae Young's son? Probably not.
I don't know.
I reached out to Mike Mills of the Booking the Territory podcast and Lance Peterson, who they do a world-class show on their Patreon feed. And Lance is like the world-class historian if you ever have a world-class question. And apparently no one knows why they were saying Skip Young is a second-generation wrestler. His father is actually a preacher, and we're going to have a skit of them in his father's church at some point.
Was his father Slick?
What was Slick's real name? I'd say probably not, since Slick was probably around the same age. So no.
Mercer was so bored during this match that he was talking about the ever in abeyance 6-man tag title.
Yes, the NWA continues to hold up the 6-man tag titles. Do you remember when this controversy started over the 6-man tag titles?
The day after I started the show.
Okay, a little more actuality here. The Texas Stadium show, the Parade of Champions, which was on May 6th.
Yeah.
We're now in August 18th, and we are still holding up the 6-man tag titles. If you thought that Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan WWE title thing where this held in abeyance was long, this takes the cake.
They were doing all kinds of fuckery with the 6-man tag titles before that, though.
I mean, that's true, but at least, they were fairly consistent up until, Fritz joined in, and then Mike was the illegal Von Erich during the Texas Stadium show. Or was it Kevin? I think that was Kevin. I think Kevin was the illegal Von Erich.
Mike is an illegal Von Erich, all right.
Yes, he is. We'll talk about Mike later. But Skip won with a missile drop kick.
Ralph Pulley announced this match at 6 minutes and 22 seconds. This match went every second of 9 minutes.
I didn't even hear what he had said. I was like, this match is fucking taking forever.
It did.
So after Skip won with the missile drop kick, we are suddenly joined in the ring by the PYTs of all people.
Yeah.
Let's go to them right now because they took the microphone and they have something to say.
Don't you remember us? Huh? Don't you remember the deal, you shoe shine boy? Huh? You're nothing but an Uncle Tom, boy. Won't you come in here and take on the PYT Express? And won't you redneck shut up? You understand that?
Oh, those are heavy words.
I don't know if you got a short member or not, but I don't forget nothing. Have you forgot? I don't ever forget what happens in the past. It seems that you don't forget what happened in the past. Well, we don't forget nothing, sucker. And if you think you bad, here we are right now. And we ain't running for nobody. Come on up here, Watermelon boy.
Coco Ware and Norvell Austin, the Sweet Young Things, and Skip walks right into a buzzsaw. Oh.
The Sweet Young Things, or the Pretty Young Things, are heels here on World Class, which is just kind of funny. But they're apparently Skip forgets something. Personally, I think Skip doesn't remember his family, much less whatever the hell the PYTs are talking about.
I sure didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
And then at one point, Coco goes to the apron. I'm like, are we getting a tag match here? Is he waiting for a tag? but no, instead he just helped with a double team maneuver.
Yeah, he did.
Yes. I think,
Look,
and I know Coco, obviously you can't tell the future at this point, but you could tell Coco was like, man, I'm about to become a jobber in the WWF, so I got to get in as much offense and as many wins as I can in all these other territories before I get to New York.
yeah, I kind of don't feel bad about Skip Young getting his ass kicked when he went into a 2-on-1 fight like an idiot.
Yeah. Stupid baby faces do not get sympathy.
No.
It's like, I would have said the same thing about Sonny King if he had gotten his ass kicked by 3.5 men in Mid-South.
Now, see, if Sonny King had been in the Sportatorium, he would have been so appalled at the injustice that he would have come running to the aid of Skip Young.
I'm sure he would have, but Skip Young doesn't have any friends yet because even though all baby faces stick together and all heels stick together, this is Skip Young's debut, so he hasn't had the chance to make any friends here in World Class, so no one came to help him.
That's sad state of things.
Yes. By the way, in case you're wondering, our good friend Brian Adias, who is the Von Erich's best friend, who showed up one week, won the TV title, and disappeared, he's in Mid-Atlantic right now.
Oh, how about that?
Yes. So yeah. So this has been a decent show so far, but how do you make a decent show good? How do you make a bad show good? You stick a microphone in Gino Hernandez's face. Gino has stormed to the ring, and he's got something to say about Mike Von Erich.
Let me tell you something right now, you little punk. If I hadn't thought that was that little idiotic female Stella May down here, that belt would still be around my waist. But that's all fine, because as far as I'm considered, no matter where I gotta go, that belt is going back around my waist because I am your champion.
Of course, that's Gino Hernandez.
On my right, representing Devastation Incorporated from the USA, Wild Bill Irwin. Gino Hernandez, I am your champion.
Bill Irwin just became the top babyface in the territory, by the way. But I think the most important question to ask here is not when will Gino Hernandez get his shot at the American title, is not why was Bill Irwin introduced as being from the USA. It was, what the fuck was Mike Von Erich wearing?
A half shirt with his midriff exposed.
A lacy blue half shirt showing off his midriff.
By the way, speaking of dumb baby faces, don't feel bad for you when you turn your back on Bill Irwin.
Technically, did he? He didn't really turn his back on Bill Irwin as much as Bill Irwin, he didn't notice Bill Irwin sneak around him.
I don't think he notices a lot.
I think Buddy Chauncey needed to be fired for allowing Mike Von Erich to be given a microphone, to be perfectly fucking honest with you here.
He's a Von Erich. He can do whatever he wants.
Oh, Lord. And then Bill Irwin became the top babyface by stopping him from cutting any further promos.
Yeah.
So then we get from the USA, Bill Irwin, question mark, versus American champion Mike Von Erich from Texas, which is, in case you haven't noticed before, is in the USA as well. So Bill was choking Mike with Mike's blouse when some guy came to ringside and made General Skandor Akbar and Scott Hall Irwin leave. And I'm like, well, that's weird. But the match continued. And I'll see what you think, but I thought Bill Irwin did a great job of carrying Mike here.
Yeah, he did. He did. This wasn't bad at all. Bill Irwin Very much good enough worker to make Mike look past.
Yeah. And now, obviously Mike has issues, and obviously there's more important things to the territory than have Mike become a good wrestler. But can you imagine if Mike left for like 6 months to a year and went and worked somewhere else with the great workers out there at this point? How good Mike Von Erich could have been. Like get out of the spotlight, all that shit, then just go be your own guy.
God, send them to Baba for a tour or two. Send them to Florida a little bit. You got all these connections. Mike wasn't bad. Mike could have learned. He just wasn't put in a position to learn.
Yeah, Mike is a guy who's been wrestling for 9 months.
Yeah.
Go to your average indie show and realize that people wrestling on those indie shows, a lot of them have been wrestling for years. Like, and compare them to Mike Von Erich, who's been wrestling for 9 months. It's a big difference here, ladies and gentlemen. So suddenly, David Manning Von Erich gets in the ring. Now, Bronco Lubick was the referee, but David Manning Von Erich randomly gets in the ring, breaks them up, and takes the microphone. I'm like, well, this is probably because Mike was getting his ass kicked, and David can't let one of his brothers get put down too badly here. But then David Manning Von Erich is definitely the Vince McMahon in this situation, and he's about to interrupt Rhino versus Tajiri, but for something much better than a bikini contest. Let's go to David Manning Von Erich, who's cutting a promo.
We're going to have to halt this match right here. It will continue after the next match. Terry Gordy and Killer Khan have had a fight in the back. If we don't bring them to the ring right now, the match will not take place. We'll bring Terry Gordy and Killer Khan to the ring now. This match will follow the main event. We will. If you keep on, you'll be disqualified and this match is over.
Well, you saw and heard, evidently there must have been a semi-war in the dressing room because David Manning has come in, and this is a highly unusual, highly unorthodox procedure to halt a bout. Mike Von Erich and Wild Bill Irwin being stopped, and here comes Gordy.
Okay, so as I keep referencing, there was a house show in 2003 where after Vince had got on this thing that everyone needs to like slow down, work moves, and re-educate the fans, Vince was at our house show for some reason, and Rhino was wrestling Tajiri, and Vince got so bored that he stormed to the ring in the middle of the match, demanded that it be stopped because the match was boring, and start a bikini contest.
Wow. I had forgotten that story. Wow.
Yes. I gotta say, this is definitely a different way to go about it. Hey, we can't keep these two apart in the locker room, so I know they're scheduled for later in the show, but it's like, you know what? We got to do things on the fly sometimes. We're gonna make Mike Von Erich and Bill Irwin stop wrestling and then come back out later after the next match.
That's so bizarre. That is so fucking such a weird thing to do.
It is, but I admit I like the idea of this. So like we can't hold these two apart anymore, so I'm sorry, but what makes it, in my opinion, even better, this did not happen during the opener. This did not happen during Skip Young versus Kelly Kiniski, where it's like, okay, this is a little it's a little bit of whatever. Like, no, it happened during a Von Erich match. It happened during a Von Erich semi-main event match against another, named wrestler. And like, hey, I'm sorry, but shit happens. I ultimately, as much as I laughed at it, I liked it.
I would have lodged the biggest protest if I were a wrestler and somebody stopped my match because some other assholes couldn't fucking wait their turn.
Especially Bill Irwin. Like, I hope next week's show features him threatening to sue the Jack Tunney of the NWA guy that was here a few months ago.
It should, and that result in the post-match match should not count.
Now, since again in this world, Terry Gordy versus Killer Khan is the equivalent of the bikini contest that replaced Rhino versus Tajiri. I mean, ultimately, we do have Gordy and Killer Khan in their control top briefs.
That's true. That's true.
Now, for a statement that's equally as shocking as when I said that Bob Eaton is better than Barry Darsow, this match, Terry Gordy versus Killer Khan, is a lot better than Mike Von Erich versus Bill Irwin.
It was. It was.
And it was Terry Gordy with Hayes and Roberts versus Killer Khan with General Skandor Akbar and the Irwins in his corner. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know if this really counted as a match. I guess the bell rang and then the bell rang. But this was just a fight between two guys who eventually got four other guys included in the fight. Like
the official decision communicated via the ring announcer was that it was a double disqualification in 1 minute and 45 seconds.
I mean, that sounds about right. But yeah, this was, a hell of a little fight here, I thought.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, I want to see more, which is not something you hear us talk about on World Class very much.
I did not expect to love Killer Khan as much as I do when he showed up here.
Honestly, it's like I wasn't expecting to like anything about this because, like, I don't know why, and maybe it's because I was thinking, like, doesn't he have a run in like '87 WWF with Hogan? And like, I was thinking about that Killer Khan, which is much like everybody else who goes to the WWF, not the greatest version of that wrestler ever.
Yeah, no, that was that was his final. He took the Hogan money and went and opened his restaurant.
There you go. So yeah, this was a hell of a fight, and it made me want to see them fight again.
Yes, it's a more Terry Gordy and Killer Khan.
If we could just have like the best of Terry Gordy versus Killer Khan, even with just like two matches that we just have to watch over and over again, I'll tell you what, if we have a world-class encore next week of Terry Gordy versus Killer Khan, I am watching the encore next week.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be a good use of an encore.
Yes. However, it's world-class. I imagine if we have an encore, Kevin Von Erich will have been wrestling like Max or something.
Yeah.
Which, well, not necessarily bad, but still, it's like something we've seen before.
Yeah.
Apparently they're going to have Spike. I'm assuming cage match means that they're going to have a Spike match, but it just says Spike. And then a few weeks, then after that, they have a no disqualification Spike, which disturbs me that the Spike match is not a no disqualification match.
Yeah.
Let me see. How many times are they going to be sports entertaining with each other here on the world class territory? Not a whole lot, to be perfectly honest. But hey, they're going to at least be doing this through Thanksgiving, and apparently the Thanksgiving match is one of Dave Meltzer's top matches of the '80s.
All right, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yes, and so yeah. So eventually, so they're having the six-way fight in the ring. Akbar is in the ring, directing things. At one point, Scott Hall Irwin leaves the ring, and Michael Hayes, instead of going and following him, turns around and sees Akbar in the corner, and he goes and starts beating up Akbar. Oh, that was great. I'll tell you what, Gary Hart would not have allowed him to be trapped in the ring getting beaten up.
No.
Khan gave Hayes the thumb, so Gordy gave him the thumb, and eventually a whole bunch of people in blue jeans hit the ring. And I wrote the entire locker room ran out, and by the entire locker room, I mean like 6 people, including George Weingroff's penis. You know
Oh.
things, yeah. You know things are bad when you send the blind guy in to break up the fight. He was literally standing in the middle of the ring, telling everyone to stop. I'm like, doing great there, George. Now, I know we can't have Terry Gordy wrestle Killer Khan every week for some reason.
Why
but
can't we? Why can't we not?
They do tell us that next week is going to be Kerry versus Michael in a lumberjack match. Shouldn't I don't know. I guess a lumberjack match wouldn't have been that appropriate because not like these two were trying to leave the ring and fight. But shouldn't that kind of gimmick be done for this match now? But I guess we're gonna have Spike soon. But still,
what if the lumberjacks are just all Spike Dudley?
That would be tremendous. Especially since he's like, I don't know, a very small child, I believe, at this point, as opposed to a very small adult.
Presumably.
Yes. By the way, this week on the site formerly known as angrymarks.com from an ECW show is the New Year's Eve 1999 ECW on TNN show featuring Mike Awesome knocking out a woman's front teeth.
Oh, wow.
Yes. If you want me to elaborate at all, listen to the show on Thursday.
All right.
Yes. So I wrote, oh my God, they're legitimately continuing Bill Irwin versus Mike Von Erich.
Yes, they did.
Why didn't Rhino and Tajiri ever continue their match after the bikini match?
Too bad. Too bad.
The finish of this match, and again, maybe I should have went back and rewatched it just to make sure I got it right here. But Scott Hall Irwin gets on the apron and holds out his whip to use as a clothesline device and just held it there forever. And Mike eventually turned it around and sent Bill into it. And so Scott clotheslined his brother and Mike won. And as I wrote, eventually a convicted sex offender ran in after the match.
Yeah, it was Scott and Akbar holding the whip. But yeah, that is what happened.
I didn't even see Akbar holding it. I thought
he was up there too. He was, yeah. Or maybe he was just standing there distracting him and was right next to him.
Do you remember? I think this either 2015 or 2016. I really couldn't tell you specifically which year, but the pay-per-view after WrestleMania in either 2015 or 2016 had John Moxley and Brody Lee in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Yes.
And they got in a car in the middle of the match, drove away, and came back an hour later to continue. Yeah. That was better than this. Not that you need to meet. This. Yeah. And by the way, speaking of things that like made me think, okay, this show's being taken over by the Mid-South production staff. World Class now has closing credits.
Yeah, it does.
Did I not notice this before?
I think they've had them for a while.
Okay. Maybe it just seemed like they didn't. Anyway. Or maybe these were different. Again, another thing, but they always had closing credits, but like I think they were stylized differently this time.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Oh well. So that was World Class, a better than usual episode of World Class. And I probably only think that because of Gordy versus Khan, because when I look at the rest of it, it wasn't like the rest of the show was, much better than usual or any different than usual.
At least the show was interesting this week.
And hey, we're introducing new people because that's one of the things we've been whining about is it's the same fucking people feuding each other forever. And we got the PYTs, we got Skip Young, it was at least a little different. There's an angle going on the show that has nothing to do with the Freebirds or the Von Erichs.
Yeah.
And also has nothing to do with Gentleman Chris Adams and Jimmy Garvin. Still don't know why Stella Mae French is suddenly mad at Gino Hernandez. I get it probably happened on the Fort Worth show, but Jesus Christ, it'd be nice if we got told what the hell's going on. Speaking of
Yeah.
which, what the hell ever happened to Chris Adams and Jimmy Garvin?
I
Not that I
don't know.
They've disappeared off the show. Oh Lord. I guess like the rule is if they're on the show, they have to wrestle each other. So if the options
Yeah.
are no Chris Adams and Jimmy Garvin, or they must wrestle each other, I'll take what we have right now. No Chris Adams and Jimmy Garvin.
Yeah, fair enough.
Although I wonder how Sunshine is doing. Do you think she ever got out of the mental institution? Do you think we ever found out if she's in the mental institution?
I don't know. She goes back.
Okay.
doesn't she?
I'm pretty sure she comes back. She may already be back. You know.
One of Astro Peach's middle names is Sunshine.
One of Astro Peach's middle names is Sunshine?
Yes.
How many middle names does she have?
Astro Peach?
Yes.
Oh, Astro Peach, Sunshine, Toulouse.
Okay. By the way, Sunshine's next match is not until July 4th, where she wrestles Jim Cornette in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I knew she did the Cornette program.
And then after that, she teams with Scott Casey to take on John Tatum and Missy Hyatt.
How about that?
Yes. Scott, I'm trying to remember if Scott Casey's the person I'm thinking of. 1 second here. Yes, Scott Casey is best known as the guy who was on Survivor Series 1988 as Scott Casey.
I knew exactly what you were going to say. I knew.
Yeah.
That is what Scott Casey is known for.
Being a random replacement on a Survivor Series team. I'd say poor Scott Casey, but you know, he's apparently still alive. He's only 71. Maybe we can reach out to Scott Casey.
Oh, how about that?
It'd be like the worst interview ever. Hi, Scott Casey. Tell us about Survivor Series 88. He'll talk for about 3 minutes. Go, okay, plug your Twitter, plug your Instagram, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, is that really all you want us to hear about? I'm like, that's all I wanted to hear you talk about. Trey, you have any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you for appearing, Scott Casey.
What was it like teaming with Sunshine?
There you go. See here. Casey made a one-match return to the WWF when he appeared on the March 26, 1991 WWF Superstars taping, teaming with Rob Allen against the Orient Express. He retired from professional wrestling after this appearance.
Huh.
However, he did come out of retirement in 1993 for the Wrestling Around the World promotion, facing the Captain of Hussars and the High Tech Knights. Who wrote that? You know the Wikipedia pages that like you know the person involved wrote that? I can't imagine anybody else in the world knowing that Scott Casey came out of retirement to take on the Captain of Hussars and High Tech Knights.
Now, do you think it was the Captain of Hussars or the High Tech Knights that edited the Wikipedia page?
See,
or was it Scott Casey?
Scott Casey. I assumed it was Scott Casey. He apparently wrote a biography, One Last Ride, in April 2019.
Oh.
Speaking of wrestling books that no one has read, I'm fairly certain my book has sold more copies than Scott Casey's book. Oh, Lord. So, by the way, speaking of books, we are 30 days away from book 2 hitting the shelves.
Oh, well, how about that?
Yes. How about that? I just have to light a fire under my editor's ass. He's a little over halfway done, and I think it'd be more helpful if like I was lighting a fire under my own ass to start formatting this goddamn thing. Because at least to me, it's like I don't want to get too much into this, knowing that it's not finished editing yet.
Yeah.
But personally, I think the second book is a lot better than the first book.
Well,
and I thought the first book was the greatest book ever written. So.
I thought it was the best book you've ever written.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And every month when, what's his name, Jeff Bezos sends me a couple dollars, I go get my soda and my muffin, and I thank Jeff Bezos for it.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Gratitude.
Yes. So even though we stayed 98% on topic during this podcast, we went roughly the same length as we normally would, like before we talk about all the other garbage we talk about. So, hey.
There was a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah. So today's September 2nd. Tomorrow is at a really fucking good TNA show. The TNA Super X Cup show from 2003. It is a really fucking good TNA show. You know, it's the Super X Cup tournament. And the last hour, especially the last 4 matches, is just a fantastic 4 matches. Now, I bring that up partially because next Wednesday is the Best of TNA 1 cent pay-per-view, and Cindy and I are not going to be doing a show that day. Trey and I may do an extra show that day, but I have a special little bonus that I'm going to be throwing up for our listener out there. So keep your eyes out for that. September 10th. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else you want to talk about here before we wrap things up?
No. Astro Peach is snuggled up on the desk against my hand. That's pretty sweet.
So I would say spoiler, but by the time anyone listens to this, Raw would have already happened. But apparently, they are strongly teasing that AJ Lee will be returning to WWE specifically this Friday on SmackDown.
Oh.
Apparently, they are building up a mixed tag match with Seth Franklin Rollins and Becky Lynch versus CM Punk and Question Mark. And everyone seems like they're pointing pretty clearly towards AJ being here.
Well, everybody's gonna be let down if it's not.
Yeah. They are really this is hilarious. Okay. So they are really, really, really doubling and tripling down and making this WrestlePalooza show going against All Out to being a big fucking deal. When, again, I sincerely doubt it's going to make a lick of difference in AEW's business. Because people are still going to fucking buy the pay-per-view. Like, this is one of those times where it's like the hardcore AEW fan and the hardcore WWE fan, it's not going to make a goddamn lick of difference. Because this isn't 1987. You do not have to pick one or the other. You can watch both. And there's going to be a lot of people who do watch both. And when All Out does the 100 to 120,000 buys that it's probably going to do anyway, the AEW fans are going to point to it like, hey, look, see, we're just as good as we always are. And then WWE fans will go, look, they only did 120,000 buys, not realizing that's roughly what AEW does for every pay-per-view for the most part. And the funny thing about this is that, especially the last 2 years after they've been doing All In, a week before or 2 weeks before in last year's case, All Out has been basically become a B show. Like last year, the world title match was Bryan Danielson and Jack Perry. The year before that was when they main evented with Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for the international title, which also had the Handsome Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs match that never got rematched. All Out has not been their A show lately. Has not been an A show lately. And that's the one that WWE is going all out to, kick the ass of.
I heard a statistic that I was very surprised by at first, but when you think about it, it's actually obvious. All Out will be the first time that Adam Copeland and Christian Cage have ever teamed in a 2v2 tag match on a pay-per-view in Canada.
I mean, to be fair, during their run, that was like before WWE did a lot of,
Yeah, it's
Canada
actually,
shows.
it's actually kind of surprising because they did, like, during the, in 96, 97, 98, they did a pay-per-view or two a year from Canada, but they did 0 pay-per-views in Canada in 99, 2000, or 2001, and those were the years Edge and Christian were a tag team.
Yeah. I mean, the closest you're getting, and to be honest, I'd actually have to double check to see if this actually happened, was the Rock Bottom show. Would have been the only time that they were even. It would have
was
been
a 6-man tag at Rock Bottom, yeah.
The Brood versus somebody. I couldn't even tell you who they wrestled. For some reason, that's just sticking with me. But yeah, because they didn't even become a WWF team until November or late October of '99, or I'm sorry, '98. Excuse me. And then, like, because here's the thing too, it's not just that they did pay-per-views in Canada in 1998. They booked those things out over a year in advance. If you go into the Observer from from towards the end of '97, Dave will tell you here's all the dates for next year on WWF and pay-per-view and where they're going to be, which included I think 2 they did it in Canada in '98. And so by '98, when they were booking out for '99, business exploded in the US, and so they didn't need to put big shows in Canada. Like, need, of course, like, again, you're spitting the face of your Canadian fans, but still, it's like, I can't even tell you when the next Canadian show was. Like you said,
WrestleMania 18. WrestleMania
honestly,
18.
If I would have had 5 seconds, I probably could have remembered that one. But yeah, but it's like, and that was after they'd already broken up. Like, they'd done Raws in Toronto and Calgary and Edmonton and whatnot, but like, yeah, they didn't do a pay-per-view. And I do think, sorry, go ahead.
Breakdown in Your House from Hamilton, Ontario had a very cool, may have been only time singles match, Edge versus Owen Hart.
Yep, Breakdown '98. That was the debut of Christian. It was a long blonde-haired man jumped out of the crowd to distract Edge.
Yep.
But by the way, somebody tell my brother because he's going to be happy. Apparently, the Righteous are rumored to be going to WWE.
Well, good for them. They're a very good team. I was kind of disappointed that Tony didn't do more with them.
Honestly, it's like the same thing I say every time somebody says, "Oh, such and such should be used more" or whatnot. Who would you take off the show to put on to give the Righteous a bigger role?
Yeah, I know. And I know that's right. It's just, there are some people that and every booker has their people. And there are people who I know, if I was a booker, would just be the people that I can't help but have doing something. And it just, like, that motherfucker Dutch is like, I'd have him doing something, and that was tag team was a very good act.
Weren't they originally signed or rumored to sign to do the Wyatt Six act? When Bray was still alive, and then they dropped them.
I have no idea.
By the way, the University of North Carolina football team has male cheerleaders. Just want to throw that out there for any whiny people. But yeah, the Righteous are a good team. I had a friend who we were watching a recent pro wrestling show, and the Outrunners lost, and she was disappointed because she's a big Outrunners fan. And I had to tell her, I'm like, to the Outrunners, it's the 1980s, and you did not put big matches on TV in the 80s. So to the Outrunners, this was probably a house show match in their minds. So to them, the only people who saw it were the people in the crowd. So it's not that big of a deal.
Sure.
So speaking of recent wrestling, how recent are we?
Not enough, but we're getting there. We're on the back half of the G1. I didn't watch any wrestling yesterday because I had other stuff going on, and then I watched this today. But I'm getting there. I'll get there.
I'm assuming you don't want me to say what was going on yesterday, but like that was a very dismissive way to describe yesterday.
If you must.
I don't know if I must, but it was Trey's birthday yesterday.
It was. I have aged.
Happy birthday, Trey.
Thank you.
It was also Cindy's birthday the other day too. So what the
Yeah.
hell? I found my hosts I found on the same who have similar birthdays.
How
Same
about that?
horoscope sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like the way you said that, like I had other stuff to do. I'm like, who's your birthday? No, I don't celebrate my birthday, but most people tend to, and you're just like,
I don't know. I just it feels weird to make a fuss about it. But I went out to lunch with my wife and a few friends, and then I came home and I one of my favorite movies that I haven't watched in a very long time. I sat down and watched the director's cut 4.5 hours of Gettysburg.
I saw you put that up on the Facebook.
Yeah.
But so yeah, have you watched Smoky Mountain yet?
I have not. No.
That is a show.
I hope
I'll
so.
tell you this right now. There is a promo that could not air in 2025. As a matter of fact, I still have to check to see if A, Peacock has this episode of Smoky Mountain up, and B, if they included it, if they didn't edit it off.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. And it's like, I can't even say it because I'm going to spoil it for you. So just like tune in Thursday to listen to us debate whether or not this promo flies or not.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. Hey, Yo My Godcast is currently, on vacation. So this is a great time to go check out all the episodes of the Oh My Godcast. So this way you're caught up. But anyway, until next week, thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you again in about 7 days.
Bye.